Okay, welcome everybody. We'll get started. Cameron Parish Police Jury's agenda meeting, morning session, Monday, August 5th, 2024. So you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer? All right, the Gregory Agency. You here with us today? Come over here.
Good morning. Appreciate you all calling us still the Gregory Agency. We actually have become a part of a company called Hub International. Just like to emphasize that Hub is the fourth largest insurance broker in America, and we just partnered with them about 3 years ago, but we still kind of coexist, Gregory Agency / Hub. So I'd like to keep that local name, so I do appreciate that. As you all know, it is time for the benefits renewal. First and foremost was the health insurance. That's always the big ticket item. We did receive an 8.6% increase this year from Blue Cross. I did want to share with you all, I know we met a couple of months ago, kind of looked over some claims history and some things. Just hot off the press through July, just because we just received this data. Unfortunately, the month of July, we paid Blue Cross $252,000 in premium, and they paid out $515,000 in claims. And if I look over the last 12 months, you all have paid them $3,062,000. They've paid out $3,653,000. So the 8.6% increase, you know, we felt like actually was justified. We did go out to the marketplace, as you all are aware, and did look at other options, but basically felt like the option that you had with Blue Cross was your best bet. And we're good, proud to say that Blue Cross is still Blue Cross of Louisiana, because there was some talk about them possibly selling, and that's now not going to happen. So that is good news. So our recommendation was going to be to renew with the Blue Cross plan with no changes in the benefits. Welcome to, happy to take any questions.
Any questions, guys?
Okay. And then also, the other thing would have been the dental insurance. On that, we have had over the last year a few complaints about the dental in particular, just dentists perhaps not being in the network. We did do an analysis of all of the dentists that the employees have used throughout the state of Louisiana, as well as some other states. And so your existing plan through MetLife, of the dentists that everybody was using, 14 of them were in the network. If we were to make a change, for example, to Guardian, who you had previously that a lot of the employees liked, they have 17 providers in their network. Just to be upfront with you, dentists don't particularly like to be in network, so it's always an issue in Louisiana. But Guardian does have the biggest network out there, and the dentists that your employees were using most often would be in Guardian, where that provider was not in MetLife today. So sounded like the employees were kind of interested in making a change to Guardian. Obviously, that's a voluntary benefit where they're absorbing the majority of the premium in that. So our recommendation again on that, with you all's consent, was to switch the dental from MetLife to Guardian. And basically that was it. Yes, sir.
Ms. Katie, you have any questions? On behalf of the employees.
Well, I think everyone's been pretty satisfied from our perspective with Blue Cross Blue Shield. They have a pretty favorable deduction and copay. The only complaints that we were aware of were with the dental. There aren't very many doctors in our network in Lake Charles with the dental, so with his recommendation to change back to guardian. I think that's what we had before. We didn't really have any complaints. So I think that's an excellent recommendation.
Any questions?
All right. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you all and the employees of the parish. Thank you.
Thank you. Grace and Cassidy Gilroy.
Mr. Coy's not here. Can we just go to the next item?
Miss Robin Morales.
This is a grass issue that we have at 110 Seabright in Johnson Bayou, and I think Mr. Courtney is here. I just kind of want to give you a little rundown. Last year, we did have some complaints of Mr. Courtney's grass issue, and it was addressed at our June 7th, 2023 jury meeting where they voted to enforce the ordinance. This property is located in Ocean View subdivision. I know in the last meeting last year, I know there was some communication of it being in the Baton Rouge Audubon Society lawsuit, but this property is not in that area. We're again receiving some complaints about the overgrown grass at Mr. Courtney's residence. I did speak with him several times in the last couple of months. We've tried to come to an agreement where he would get the grass cut. Mr. Courtney is stating that he wants to replant this growth at his Sarasota address on the beach for erosion. We're going off of a complaint. We're not riding around. It is a complaint from a resident. And I'm just asking that we enforce the ordinance and have Mr. Courtney have it cut within at least 15 days, if it hasn't been done.
Robin,
So.
got a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Is this causing, other than being not favorable to sight, is it causing any kind of issues as far as rodents?
It is. That's what they're stating. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You have some pictures?
I do. And you should have a copy of those in your...
I have them, I just wonder if everybody's seen them.
Yes, everybody should have them in their packet. And I know he did, I know in communication with him, he did have someone come out and cut just actually one strip around the bottom structure of the property, which didn't really, didn't address the tall grass issue.
It's Robin. The grass or bushes, I think I remember seeing in an email some pictures of it. At what point in time does Mr. Cassidy plan on replanting these somewhere?
Oh, Mr. Courtney?
Yeah, Mr. Courtney.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you could ask him if he wants to come up.
Back to speak, Mr. Court.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate that. After speaking with Ms. Robin over the past year or so, we have cut everything on the front 70 feet of the property. The property is 100 feet deep. We are maintaining some growth on the rear 30 feet of the property to transplant to our site on Sarasota Avenue, which is about 700 feet away. And anybody's welcome to come out there and look. We have been transplanting the plant material from Seabright to Sarasota for the past 7 years. And we have a very considerable amount of effective coastal erosion mitigation happening, because what we have found is by transplanting grass that is grown locally, it takes better than the stuff that you would be buying from like a nursery in Florida to transplant down here on the beach. It just works better. And again, we've cut the front 70 feet of the property. We're keeping 30 feet in the back to transplant. We're transplanting that on an ongoing, regular basis, and it's working. That's all I got, man. It's working. Anybody is welcome to come out there and take a look for themselves. I'll walk you down to the beach where we're transplanting it, show it to you, show you that it's working.
Mr. Courtney, let me ask you a question. Do you not know anybody locally that might have agriculture land or such that grows the same kind of vegetation that would allow, you know, cause I think the problem here is I hate to say subdivision, but you know, it's I guess, you know, problem with rodents and whatnot.
At the last meeting, June 7th of last year, I showed pictures, and the property on every single side of our property has the same growth on it. It's not like my grass is this side and the people to the west is down here. It's the exact same growth. It's the exact same growth. There's no difference whatsoever between our property, the property directly to the west of it, the property directly to the northwest of it. It's the exact same growth. If you look right across the street from my house to Chris Chessel's property, it's the exact same growth. That's not being cut either. If there's a problem, it should be enforced universally throughout the subdivision, not just against what we're trying to do. And again, back 30 feet by 50 feet at the back of the property is the only thing that we're not currently maintaining.
If there is grass in other areas, we'll address that as the complaints come in. But yours has been registered several times in complaints from the neighbors. And what kind of grass is that you suppose you got planted there? What is it?
It's a mixture of bitter panaceum, cordgrass, marsh grass, Bermuda grass. There's some blue fescue in there.
It doesn't look like fescue to me. I mean, it looks like bushes from what I can see.
There are some bushes back there also. There's some hackberry bushes and some other types of bushes that we're allowing to grow and transplant.
Look, we have no problem with you planting grass on the Sarasota portion of the beach area. But you're in a subdivision and everybody should be held to the same accord. And as those people are reported that you're talking about, because I rode through there and I haven't seen what you're saying, as far as the same as yours. They'll be addressed at that time. But yours is in an area that has been complained about and it needs to be cut. I mean, we had the same discussion last year.
Yes, sir, we do.
And we're not asking for more than what you were agreed to when you bought the property, basically. You know, you're gonna maintain your property.
I think the biggest thing here is looking by these pictures, and I apologize, I didn't go look at it in person, but I mean, some of this stuff looks 8 foot tall. I'm not certain that, it takes it to be 8 foot to be transplanted.
It does not, and you're absolutely correct on that. And we have asked Ms. Robin for a measurement of exactly how tall.
Well, we actually do have an ordinance that states how tall.
We've asked her, and we've not gotten a height. We've also asked for specific, species of grass that could either be included or excluded, and have not gotten any list of included or excluded species. If you guys would like to give me a list of excluded and included species, we'll limit it to whatever you decide could be included.
We don't care what you plant in your yard, but you're still gonna have to mow it. You have to keep it down to where it's not a health hazard to anybody else.
Give me a height.
And that's what the issue is.
Give me a height.
Ice and ordinance.
Ms. Robin, would you like to speak on that?
And there's also not an issue, I mean, people have gardens too. I
It's
mean,
16 inches.
correct.
Which is pretty tall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's not 8 feet tall like in these pictures.
you know, by that time it's trees and bushes,
How long will it take you to transplant these, Mr. Courtney?
we're gonna continue to transplant vegetation to the beach as long as erosion mitigation is needed on the beach.
So, Mr. Courtney, would you consider meeting us in the middle and trying to actually create some kind of garden and keep the rest of it all mowed and keep it?
That's what we've attempted to do, sir. The front 70 feet of the property is mowed.
Yeah.
Okay, the rear 30 feet is what we call our garden area that we're using to grow things to transplant.
Okay, let's back up a little bit. How about that 16 inches? Can we meet somewhere under 16 inches and not 8 feet?
Give me 30 days, I'll have everything below 16 inches. Fair enough?
Ms. Robin's willing to give you 15 days.
It's gonna take me another minute or two to get some volunteers out here to do the work.
Ms. Robin, you want to speak?
I think 15 days is generous.
Yeah.
I would cut it.
I don't disagree with you.
So his certified letter was sent to him on May 2nd to his Baton Rouge location, and he did sign for that. I did send out another certified letter on July 16th because he had another location in Houston. I have not gotten the green card on that back yet. So he has known about this since May
Yeah.
2nd.
And, you know, we just had another recent storm there. We're trying to manage and mitigate.
I'm only one vote, but I like 15 days. Sounds good to me.
Mr. Courtney, I'll just go ahead and touch base on a few things. In my area, we're having a couple issues with this, which across the parish as a whole, if you look at it, there's a lot of things growing up. Unfortunately, only a select few people come back. So when something is in our ordinance and somebody's complaining, I believe it's firmly our job to take action and make sure it's presentable and we follow the guidelines. So in saying that, with transplanting, to me, it doesn't have to be 8 foot tall. It could be short and be transplanted. You want the roots, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I would have to be with Michael on the situation and at least cut it and maintain it a little more better. Being the location, if you was on an agriculture property in the middle of nowhere, sky's the limit, you know?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So
Thank you,
just to
Ms.
be
Court.
clear, gentlemen, we're giving him 15 days to either get it replanted or get it to the
Yes.
16 inches,
Yeah,
correct?
Get it below 16 inches at 1 Tennessee break. That's
Okay.
my understanding.
Okay,
Is that your understanding?
yes.
Is that doable?
And maintain it.
That's our ordinance.
Yeah, replanted and cut.
Sixteen inches or 18 inches?
16.
16, okay. Might get up to 24 every now and then if I remove it down to 16.
The ordinance
No.
is 16 inches.
Robin, give him a copy of the ordinance, please.
He has a copy.
Read it.
The roots are the same length, whether it's 16 inches or 8 feet tall.
Yeah,
The roots are the
bring it
same
down to
length.
4 inches and the roots don't grow as deep.
This
But
is
so
just-
you're
it-
right. You're right.
Mr. Courtney, please understand, we're trying to work with you. We could tell you to go in there and cut it with a lawnmower and get it back to total presentable. But we have to, we feel an obligation to work with you on this.
And I appreciate that. That's why I'm here.
Okay, sounds good. So 16 inches is where it's gonna be and 15 days is where it's gonna be
From today.
from today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Courtney.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robin. Mr. Don? The Angler Bay subdivision.
Good morning. My name is Don Soba, resident. I have a home in Angler Bay subdivision in Hagberry. For the past 4, maybe 5 years, we've been petitioning the police jury to accept the roads of Angler Bay subdivision into the parish road system. There's a long history I'm not gonna go into it now, but basically we have about 1.5 miles of road networks. There are approximately 45 to 50 camps, some permanent residences there. We do have garbage service, thankfully, and we have mosquito service. The roads are private, and we'd like to get the parish to take them in as a gravel road, at minimum, a gravel road, and then sometime maybe in the future, if funds became available, they could be improved to a hard surface road. Some of the roads are concrete. They look to be in pretty good shape. The front part of the entrance, where the most traffic is, the roads used to be asphalt, now it's pretty much gravel. Limestone, which we put in. We're just asking that the police jury to try to come up with a solution to help us out. We're a pretty big tax base for the parish. Don't know the exact number, but it's most of us don't have homestead exemption, so we're paying the full freight on taxes. But there are probably 6 permanent residences back there. And we don't have postal service, and we don't have school bus service. So, you know, those are things that I think that an area of our of the parish we deserve to have. And then we think it's been a long time. I've been a resident since 2007, and you know, it's been a long time coming. We've been trying. We've been patient. Police juries asked us to do a lot of things, like do title examination, rights of ways, things of that nature, which we've done everything. And we just like the parish to kind of come through and help us out.
Mr. Don, I'll speak up because I went and visited y'all and kind of see this quite often. It's in Hackberry. First off, thank you for coming to the jury with this. Second off, I believe, you know, just for the record, I shared with them, you know, what kind of financial condition we're in right now, and that we have a lot of other roads that need a lot of attention as well. But in the same breath, I would like the jury to think about this. I think what they're asking for is very reasonable as far as the entrance. I think we got to check on the ordinance. We have to see, you know, where the law lies on this. No doubt, no decision's going to be made today.
Of course.
But I do appreciate you coming to it, and I fully understand what y'all are up against. Unfortunately, the history was not in y'all's favor, but we can't change history, but we can change the future. So please be patient with us. Let us put our heads together and see what, you know, we'll work with the staff and see what we're able to do, and either me or Mr. Sonny will try to get back with y'all.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
While we're on this subject, let me speak just a little bit about, we've hit this 4 or 5 times with the previous jury, and we kept coming to odds with our ordinance. I think the contractor or the developer here kind of wrote these people. I hate to say that, but we had to come back behind him and redo some of the water work deal, so we had fire protection. And he sold them a bill of goods that this road would be maintained, yada, yada, yada. It's not. They can't get the mail service to come down or the bus to come pick up the children if they're living in the neighborhood, because it's a private road. So I would like for y'all to consider that. Even if we have to amend our ordinance to address this, I don't care. I think these people pay decent taxes. They're good members of the community, and I'd like to see us move forward with this, not have to keep skinning this cat every time we come around.
They do have fire protection now, is that right, and water?
Yeah, we have water and fire protection.
The roads, is it mostly gravel, or what does it consist of?
It's probably, as you enter the subdivision off of Gulfway, and the first half mile, I guess, probably approximately half mile, was originally asphalt, and it's deteriorated due to all the construction. You know, there's a camp being built back there right now, you know, concrete trucks, lumber and all that stuff. And during wet years, you know, the asphalt just deteriorated. And obviously, the roads weren't built to parish standards, and, you know, but we've got no control over that. We're like Mr. Sonny said, we're looking for the future. So that part, we maintain, we buy limestone, and we have a contractor, he fills in the potholes, but it's all on our expense. And the very back part of the subdivision, there's a few small pieces of concrete roads. And the concrete road seems to be in good shape, but they're utilized the least because they're at the very back end. So it's mainly the front part where you access it that needs the attention. You know, I think the parish is mowing the sides of the roads, and the drainage board's keeping the ditches open. So, I mean, you're contributing, but we just need to go a little bit further. And so we don't have to pay to keep up the roads. And then, you know, we want to get them to dedicate to the parish.
Sir, I don't think we cut, the parish is maintaining the grass.
No, sir. Drainage board maintains theirs, but we don't cut the weeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, someone is.
And
Yep. All right, I just kind of wanted to get a perspective, so about a half a mile of gravel road we would be maintaining, basically.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And just for the record, guys, there's no doubt that, you know, the ultimate goal is they want to be part of the community as a whole. But I think they're very reasonable in asking just for the beginning of this. You know, they fully understand what our finances is right now, and they also understand what the future might hold. And no doubt in the future they want to be fully a part of the community. But what they're asking for is a short go right here is just try to. I mean, they went to the extreme of even saying they'd buy the limestone if we could run the grader, but unfortunately, the law doesn't allow us to work on private property, so the only way we can do this is to adopt from, you know, the research that I've done, so just something for us to think about.
Can I come up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I just want to say this is our only way in and out. This is the only road for us to access the, just wanted to add that to it.
Thank you. More questions, Ken? Thank you. Thank you all. All right, Mr. Anthony Terrio.
How y'all doing?
Good.
We had our stock assessment done this year on the oysters. I wanted to show y'all a paper. I need one too.
Bless you.
God bless you.
What you got, Mr. Anthony?
Well, you see at the top on the east side, 2023, you know, it's showing, if you look at all the way at the end, sack marketable, that's what we go by. You know, and it had, in Calcasieu Lake, they had 28,703 sacks. We're allowed 15% of that. You know, that's what we're allowed to catch. Well, this 2024 stock assessment went up to 101,000 sacks. So, you know, that's how much it's increased, which you can see how they put it, 255%. This is the paper that I got. I mean, he's forwarded me their information, and I just printed it out for y'all. But anyway, you know, that's how much it's went up in Calcasieu Lake. Just like West Cove, you know, in 2023, you know, marketable oysters, they said there were 678,000 sacks. This year here, you know, it's almost 1 million. It hasn't been that high since 2008. And But if you look down, you know, in 2023, we only caught 1,700 sacks out of Calcasieu Lake. We only caught 3,900 sacks out of West Cove. You know, and the next numbers, you know, that was the limit to catch. We could have caught 4,000, and we could have caught 85,000 sacks out of West Cove. Well, this year here it's going to be 15,000 and 135, which the number is a little bit higher than that. It's actually probably close to like 140,000 sacks we can catch. But you know, the problem we're having is, you know, we need dredging back. All these oysters in West Cove, and they're too hard to work. You know, you have two choices. You either got to tongue or you got to dive. And you know, so it puts all the older fishermen, you know, pretty much out of work. You know, I don't know if y'all have ever tongued before, but you know, once you reach a certain age, you're not tonguing. You know, and then once you reach a certain age, you're not getting in that water either. So, you know, the only other option you have is, you know, that dredge. I mean, I've talked to the biologist, I've talked to this Robert, you know, whatever, he's the head of the program. I've talked to Patrick Banks, and there's only one way to get that back, and that's get it passed through legislation. You know, and there's only one person here in Cameron Parish that can get that done, and that's Ryan Booyah. You know, and I've talked to him alone, and I, you know, brought it to his attention. I mean, he was all for, let's go pull that, you know, that bag, that dredge with no bag on it, and let's see what that does. But, I mean, that's done at your own expense. And the only person that's ever signed up for that was me. You know, I have 3 boats, and I was gonna go out there on my own expense and do it, you know, just to show that it would work. But, I mean, there's no point in it. Why do I wanna spend my money when I know it's gonna work? You know, it worked before when we did it before. You know, like the conversation we had last meeting, you know, it's a politic thing. It's not, are there oysters there? You know, but we need someone in legislation, you know, that will, I mean, give us the dredging back. Let's give it the authority, you know, to Wildlife and Fishery, and you know, let them, you know, decide whether, you know, they want to take the dredge from us or give it back to us, you know, when the oysters are plentiful and when they're not. I mean, I don't think that's a hard question to ask. You know, it's just the way it was took from us, you know, I don't feel it was right. And I mean, you know, I don't know, that's,
When did they take the dredging away?
I don't know,
And did they give a reason?
10 years, but, I mean, they said it would decline oysters, you know, but like I said, it was someone from Calcasieu Parish, that, ran it through legislation, you know, and they got the law passed to where we couldn't use it.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I don't understand why they didn't get it passed to where, you know, why not give it to Wildlife and Fishery? Why not them, you know, be the choice of, you know, I mean, they're all for it. That's why I put their names there so y'all could call them. I mean, you know, they're all for us getting the dredge again.
Mr. Anthony, I wanna ask a question here. So what you're stating is the oysters are plentiful.
Well, I mean, you can see by the sack numbers there.
Okay, the reason I'm asking this is because, you know, we as a jury, we don't really have the ultimate say of this. There's no doubt that we can make some phone calls. But I think we need to have a clear message moving forward on this, because it wasn't a meeting or 2 ago, we got told that the oysters was dying.
I mean, yeah, there's no oysters by the ship channel. I mean, yeah.
Having no oysters, so I guess.
No, you get further away from the ship channel, you have oysters. You know, what we're saying is our whole life, we fished by that ship channel. You know, my life of fishing was by the ship channel. You can't find oysters there anymore. You know, yeah, that statement is the truth. You know, them ships have tore the ship channel up.
Okay.
You know, but the oysters that they have planted and the coach plants and everything else that they built, if you go ride out there, that's 5, 7, 8 miles from the ship channel.
Well, it's our duty and our obligation to represent you and the rest of the fishermen of the parish. We just need to make sure that we're going with solid facts and if.
Well, I mean, the numbers don't lie. This is from Wildlife and Fishery. This ain't from me.
Okay. Sounds good.
We will be having conversations with them.
Yep.
And we will be contacting Ryan about this too.
Yep, on your behalf.
You know, I mean, it just, y'all put it all on Katie, and, I mean, Katie does not know much about oysters. I mean, she does her job, but far as knowing about oysters, knowing, you know, do you know when they did the stock assessment? Do you know, I mean, you know, she can't keep up with all that. Y'all have her doing too much already.
Know that either.
I mean,
You think she's overloaded?
well, I know she is. I mean, well, I mean, I'm saying though, when we come up here and talk, y'all point at Katie, and y'all think that we're supposed to trust Katie in, you know, our oyster stuff. Katie does not know about oysters, you know? I mean, yeah, she's a helpful person, you know, but, I mean, she does not know, you know? I went out there with the man while he did the stock assessment, you know? Did he find anything by the ship channel? No, not none, zero, none. Not one oyster did he find at their stations by the ship channel. None. Not one oyster, not one shell, not nothing. I mean, you have his number right there. Call and ask him.
Mr. Tanner, with, you know, with Miss Katie, everything in the parish goes through her.
I understand
Anything
that.
moving.
That's what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. Mr. Tad, by looking at it, the number's greatly increasing. We understand that they might not be by the ship channel, but I think I'm talking with the port board, there's a bunch of projects coming to help armor this, stop this.
Mark, we've been hearing that for 10, 15, 20 years.
Well,
I mean,
unfortunately, that's how it goes, Mr.
well,
But, they're definitely in the works.
you'll be
Takes
dead
time.
before that channel's armored.
Maybe so.
Well,
But we're surely pushing.
you know, don't let me put my faith on something that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's wrong.
So what I wanna know, as District 5 jury, what are y'all looking for? Y'all come over here, y'all keep talking about one meeting they're dying, the next meeting they got them, but they're not in the right place. Then you talk about Katie shouldn't be handling it, she handles all of the parish business.
I didn't say Katie couldn't be handled. I said Katie has enough. Does Katie know everything about oysters? Did Katie know when the stock assessment was? Did Katie? I mean, that's all I'm saying is Katie has a lot. You want me to put my trust in Katie about oysters too? I mean, it's too much on her.
Well, all what you gotta do is hopefully give your resources to Miss Katie, and we could give it to Mr. Ryan Boryak, and maybe when we go to DC, Mr. Sonny was talking about the shrimping in DC in January. But we gotta get the information to run it up the pole. I think that would be a lot better than just keep coming to meetings and discussing. Let's get the information, and we're here to help to run it up the pole. But you're right, Miss Katie don't know, and I'm pretty sure almost all of us don't know about oysters. If you got the facts and could get them, bro.
Okay, so you know about armoring the ship channel, but you don't know about oysters? I mean, that ain't right. I mean, it ain't gonna happen. You know, we're gonna be long and dead before that ship channel is armored.
That may be the case.
Well, I mean,
I'm
speak the
just-
truth.
I'm
Speak the
speaking
truth.
the
You
truth.
know, that's why I went to them and got the numbers. There ain't no numbers I made up.
We will be contacting these people, and I'm gonna ask them why they don't have the authority to set or not set.
Believe me, I've asked every
I don't think the
one of
legislature
them.
should be setting that at somebody else's approval.
They said it's
I think these
legislation.
guys should be doing it.
They said it's legislation, you know.
Yeah.
Like I say, I mean, I've been talking to the person that used to work for the port board. She tells me the same thing. It's a legislation thing, Thad. You have to get Ryan to do it. He's your representative of Cameron Parish. You know, put him on the spot. The only thing you can do.
We will be taking care of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Tanner.
Katie.
Right, any other green cards? All right. Everybody looked over the agenda, the voting agenda?
Yeah, I had a question. Number 21, what is number 21 on the agenda?
Okay, so would you like me to go through all the agenda items
Please.
like I typically do? And I'm gonna touch on that for you, Mr. Sonny. So, item 9 is actually something that we're gonna have to table. Our auditors, Mr. Coy Vincent, he had a scheduling conflict and unfortunately he's not able to make it today, so we're gonna request that you table it, and he'll be at our September meeting to present the financial statements. Item 10 is, you heard from the Gregory brothers. They presented what they think that their, the policy renewals need to be. If we're gonna change out group dental and vision, then in the motion, you just need to make sure you specify that you're gonna accept renewals for A and C, but on B, you would like to change to Guardian. Agenda item 11, that is our renewal for our lobbying firm, P-Card Group. This is something that they help us draft legislation. They help lobby for what legislation we support or we're in opposition of, both at the state and federal level. Their contract renewal is on the agenda. Item 12, the Cameron Fishing Festival sponsorship. Typically, every year the jury sponsors them at the platinum level, which is $5,000. We also we lend our road crew to help work the festival. They're in charge of all ground maintenance. That is something that the parish has just paid their road crew employees the overtime, gave them the option of earning comp time or paid time off at a later date to work those festivals, but it's a very big help to both the Fishing Festival, and we also do it for the Fair Festival. Item 13 and 14 go in tandem. That is just Clump Lane. We are requesting to reduce the speed limit by 15 miles an hour. Items 15 and 16 both are work hand in hand. That is just reconciling our geographic boundaries for Hackberry Fire District to make sure it reconciles to the taxing and service district. We are not expanding any service or any taxes. It is just only making sure that what's defined in our ordinance matches what our taxing boundaries and our service districts are. Moving on to item 17, abandoning Parish Road 214, which is Boudreaux Road in Creole.
Did we get anybody contesting that, Miss Katie?
It's to advertise it.
Oh, just advertise.
We're just going to advertise. Items 18 and 19 are change orders. I'll save that for the end in case you have technical questions. So we'll just go over that. But Mr. Randy and our architect are both here to answer any technical questions you may have. Item 20, Mr. Stunny, you requested that. So November 5th election, we have 4 renewals on the ballot. We're going to start advertising that public notice. The first one is Hackberry Fire. It's just a renewal. B is Fire Protection 15. This is an in lieu of election. So right now, everyone in that Klondike fire area, they pay 8 mills. We're asking to double that to 16. If it passes, then everyone in that taxing service district will only pay 15. If it fails, they'll just continue to pay 8. So anyone in that area, if you want to estimate what your increase in tax is going to be, just double it. Item C, South Cameron Consolidated Waterworks District 1. This is actually Creole Creole water. So the only people that are going to vote in this election are the old Creole taxing district. If it fails, then you will no longer collect money from the Creole district, which could be a pretty big problem. The only way they would be able to generate revenue to cover anything in the Creole area is based off their user fees. So this is a very important tax. I know people are going to be confused when they go to cast their vote on the ballot because they're going to think they're voting for Cameron Creole Grand Chenier, but that is not what this is. This is only Creole. It's a renewal for Creole. Only Creole people will vote. Do we have any questions? I know that kind of probably sounded a little convoluted, so I don't want to move on unless y'all have questions specifically about this one.
Katie, can I say something?
Sure.
So the ballot was approved for all 4 of these, and for the consolidated, South Cameron Consolidated Waterworks, it will say formerly Creole Waterworks, District Number 7. So it's to clarify it, but those are the only people that will be voting on it.
Right. It'll just be Creole people. So Creole, if you like your water works and you don't want to go back to water wells, please vote yes. If you don't want your waterworks district to continue to service water, then you vote no, and you might be required to go and drill your own water well on your private property. That's the difference. And then D, Gravity Drainage District 9, that's just a renewal.
It's in Hackberry.
Yeah, it's in Hackberry. Thank you, Julie. Item 21. So this one is for the March 29th election. This is going to be Grand Lake Recreation District. It too is an in lieu of tax. Currently, they're paying 4.3 mills. They're going to request everyone to do an in lieu of and increase that to 9.3. So again, it's a little bit more than double, so a little bit more double what they're currently paying. So in Grand Lake, if you want to get an estimate on what you're going to pay for the new Grand Lake Recreation Center, just double what you currently pay. Of course, anyone that's homestead exempt, it is a reduction in taxes, so you might just have to do your own math or call our office. We'll be happy to help you figure that out. Or you can call Scott Laverne's office, the assessor. They'd be happy to give you some estimates.
And my question on that though is,
Yes.
what's that in lieu of?
It's in lieu of, so same thing. Any in lieu of tax means if it passes, then the old tax falls off and you pay the new one. So in Grand Lake, instead of paying 4.3, if it passes, you pay 9.3. If it fails, then you're only going to pay 4.3. But this is not until the March 29th election, so we have plenty of time to discuss this. I would recommend we do some town hall meetings in Grand Lake, make sure they understand it. But right now, we are just asking for permission to start doing our public notices.
And before we go forward with that, have they determined what it's gonna cost to run that place? Is this gonna be sufficient, or is this gonna be?
Preliminary numbers, yes, but we're definitely going to have those meetings, Mr. Sonny.
Well, I'm just saying, before you pass a tax and then have to come back and ask for another tax,
Right.
you wanna know if this is gonna do what we want it to do,
Me
right?
and Mrs. Ryan talked to them
Yes.
yesterday,
Okay, they good?
and they working on numbers on the insurance and making, to see what they can afford to do.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Ms. Katie,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wendy,
They contacted me today about insurance. Their board.
So right now, they only have conceptual drawings. They're waiting on their PW funding. It is gonna happen in probably the next 30 to 60 days. We'll know exactly how much FEMA PW money they're gonna get. They do have their budget allocation from the prior year. It's still sitting in an account. So once they get those numbers together and they meet with Miss Wendy, they're gonna get an estimate on what insurance looks like. They're gonna meet with their architect, and what they present to the public will be something that they can afford with this 9.3 mils. 22 and 23 are just more enforcement issues with grass and weed cleanliness. 24, this was a new state law that was passed last legislative session with the allowing the removing that concealed permit requirement, and everyone can do open carry. It's required by law for us to at least file maps of where our firearm-free zones are. The only ones we have in the parish currently are at our 4 schools. So all this is that you're voting on is to allow us to file this with the clerk of court and make it available. That way anyone coming in Cameron Parish can go to the clerk of court and find out where they can and can't carry a handgun or any firearm.
I have the maps if y'all need to look at them.
Yes, Chelsea has the
They're in
maps.
your packets as well.
But it's the 4 schools. Agenda item 25, that is renewing the Jetty Pier lease for an additional 25 years. This is at no cost to the jury. The only time you pay a lease payment is if you generate enough revenue, then you have to pay a percentage. Historically, the Jetty Pier has operated at a loss, so we've never paid anything to the state for this lease. Item 26, this is a motion to update our accounting policies. These policies were originally adopted around 2016, 2017-ish. Since then, the state legislator has increased the purchasing thresholds twice. We have not updated our ordinances, so that's what this is gonna do. This is gonna increase our purchase order requisition limit to make sure it's in line more with state law. So just to give you a brief overview, $10,000 and less would be immediately authorized to your department heads. They would have purchasing authority without any oversight from your treasurer or from your jury. Anything up to $60,000 does have to go through your treasurer. She has oversight. She has to approve it. And then anything over $60,000 and above does come to the jury. You have to get jury approval. You do have to advertise. That's all in line with public bid law. The public works threshold is going to be increased to $250,000. That's public bid law as well at the legislator. That means that any normal maintenance that you would do for waterworks, drainage boards, if we have to go make repairs to our buildings and facility maintenance, we would have the ability to award a contract directly to a contractor without having to go through the sealed bid. Now, of course, anything that we feel like needs to be competitively done, we could go get quotes to make sure that it is cost reasonable, but we're not going to be required to advertise it and take sealed bids. But anything over $250,000, it is considered project, and you have to go through the sealed bid process. Again, that has to go through jury approval. The other two policies are just kind of making our capital assets and our tag and accountability in line with what our purchasing authorities are. So capital assets now, instead of capitalizing things at $5,000, we'll increase it to $10,000. And then tagging and accountability, we were tagging everything that had a unit cost of $1,000 or more. We're going to increase that to $5,000. Now, with the cost of inflation, some of our radios and things that the fire department's purchased, one thing might cost $4,500, and we were going out there having to tag each individual radio, especially like fire hoses. So this will kind of make it a little bit easier on your accounting staff on managing all of their fixed assets. It's also going to reduce the time of your audit, which will reduce your cost of your annual audit with COY's office. And then I think that's it. Bills are on there. And financial statements, you have all that in your packet. So if you don't have any questions for me.
Well, executive session,
That,
I see Mr. Chad's here today.
yes, sir.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Can
Mr. President.
No, I just want you to,
Nobody
so when the notice for voters, I'm gonna start advertising that for Creo.
Yeah, if you don't
Just to,
mind.
I want you to clarify it. There's a precinct in 16B, which is at Grand Lake High School. So I know people may wonder why that's in the Creo Waterworks. So there's a piece of marshland under the Gibbstown Bridge. Currently, there are no voters there. If someone was to put a house vote there or something, we have to provide a place for them to vote. So on the notice to voters, that will be a precinct. And I know everybody's gonna think, oh, that's not Creo Waterworks. There are no voters, but we still have to do it. And that's why it'll be listed. There's 2 locations in Creo, but Grand Lake High School is one, which no one will be voting. But just to clarify that, because I know it looks funny when you see Creo Waterworks and a precinct is in Grand Lake, but it's just for that piece of marshland under Gibbstown Bridge. But currently, there are no voters there.
You guys understand? All right, thank you.
Jeff Davidson in here? Give us a would you give us an update, please? Appreciate it. I know it's short notice, huh?
Yeah, no problem. They, as everybody can see out there, they moved along pretty well. Some of their marsh crews that were working from Creo basically headed north. They're moving over to the Grenchen area. They're gonna start working from Mermentau, headed west, and from Mishwish coming down to the bridge. They're also gonna start just south of the Creo intersection and work down to the Oak Grove T right there within that drainage district. And then when they're finished with the Homewood area further north, they're gonna come down and start working from Intercoastal headed north is the current locations. They're anticipating having everything done on the east side of the ship channel by the end of the year, hopefully.
They're gonna jump over to the west really quick, right?
Yeah, right after that. Yep. Substations, they're working, they did a bunch of test piles on all the substations because they had a significant amount of piles, and so they did all their test piles, they're redesigning right now, and so you should start seeing some pile driving happening pretty soon. Probably at the Fulton substation will be the first one that they'll start working on. But the helicopter's done, I believe. Everything will be off of the side of the road on cranes from this point forward. Crowded drainage system will probably be done by barge.
But that's the update as far as where we're at right now. If y'all got any questions, I can definitely answer them.
Just wanna say, y'all surely making some headway and impressing us, that's for
They,
sure.
they are, they're working faster than they let on to us as well.
Yep, yep. Thank you.
Just ready, they're in Hackberry right now doing right-of-way agreements, and I've heard some very good feedback, you know, how respectful and stuff they are, so please thank them guys for that.
That's good to know. Land rights has been our biggest challenge, and it's definitely an ongoing challenge, so.
I actually was approached twice, and they were very thankful how respectful they were.
Okay, I'll pass that word along.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Anything else, Ms. Katie?
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. President, it's okay. We're gonna have an add-on for Mr. Sonny's, South Cameron Waterworks District. He wants, the 6th member went through legislation and got approved, so he wants to put his 6th member on today. Mr. Mark also requested that we remove item 8J, the Recreation District number 6 board appointment. And on item 8A, the name is gonna change. Mr. Chris declined the, board appointment.
Mary, what I wanna do today is change our ordinance to match what the state give us, and then put her on next month. And the reason is I haven't contacted her because I wasn't expecting to put her on this month.
I think we may have announced it already, but I'll double check.
Okay.
So it may be just to advertise for the
Well,
ordinance.
we have to do the ordinance, and I thought we had to give public comment for the ordinance, I'm not sure.
I'll check.
So
So
I mean,
maybe
make
just to advertise to
Right.
put the ordinance in place with the revised statute.
Mr. President, would you like to address the 2 change orders? We do have our project managers and our architects
Yes, sir.
in the
I would,
audience
yes,
if
ma'am.
you have questions.
So, on the, North Carolina EOC, item number 18.
Where we acting?
Mr. Ray, North Cameron EOC,
Oh, that change order?
yes.
Well, look, I asked for the design team to be out here.
They're here today.
They're right here. There we go. We had, what, 2024 or something?
Yeah, it's 24.95 and 7 cents for 2 control joints. During our OAC meetings, we meet weekly out there, engineers with the contractor. There's 2 joints specifically at the Emergency Operations Center. It needs a more, or it was recommended for a more robust system, and instead of just typical keyway, a basketed joint was recommended, or at least the discussion was being had. With the timing of the police juries and the rain and the contractor staying on schedule with concrete pours, ultimately those 2 joints were upgraded, and we're just here now, essentially retroactively, now that they were able to get the pricing, we negotiated, you know, we went through all the formalities of it. So that's kind of the diagram of it. If you have any questions or your thoughts.
Question, Mr. Dale?
Who overlooked that in the scope of the project?
It was the architect team and the engineers were meeting with the contractor on site, and it was discussed to possibility of upgrading those. The locations of them would prevent, it would just be a longevity. It's more robust. And being an emergency operations center, due diligence, we were discussing that opportunity at the time prior to the concrete pour. That would be the opportune time to make those upgrades. At that time, we didn't have a number, and the contractor was going to work on it, but with the rain and nature of construction, they elected to go ahead and do it and protect their schedule, essentially, knowing that today we would be here asking, you know.
So is the total cost $4,000?
No, sir. Total cost is the $2,495.07.
So the police jury is taking the whole fault on the matter?
With the state contract, it is the police jury's responsibility and is your decision. If that.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying, and it's your decision to, you know,
Deny.
accept that or
Any
deny.
questions, Mr. John and Mr. Sam?
I understand it's 2,000, but it's
No,
2,000 of taxpayer money, so I just.
Dollars a lot in certain
Well,
areas.
we just starting a little early in the project with change orders.
I completely
We
understand.
just wanna set a path going forward that it's not gonna all fall on the police jury.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Is there willing to work on that price, somebody else to take some of the load on that?
Oh, it's 100% gonna be the responsibility of the contractor for doing the work without the, yes, it's the contractor's responsibility at this point. There's no work allowed or without approval, there is no guarantee. You just proceed at your own risk. And that is in the contract, and that was a very clear statement made. Now, if you look at schedule, liquidated damages, and if you're a contractor with a large job like this is, staying on schedule is extremely important. And sometimes I think a GC is willing to roll those dice. And with the engineering team and, you know, it was a discussion and I was ongoing. Go ahead.
And that's the reason they moved forward.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean,
in a perfect
he-
world,
fully
I wouldn't-
aware of what he was
I
doing.
wouldn't want the contractor to take all this ownership. I mean, we'll take part of it, but I think engineering architecture should take some of that ownership too.
We're fully prepared to have those conversations. I'm here to help answer any questions so y'all understand the whys and the whats. It's not anything other
To
than,
me, it's an unforeseen thing, but I think we all take ownership into it, you know?
we want what's best. Look, the key joint, absolutely standard protocol. This is not the conditions on site, just, we wanted to have a conversation.
So,
It's due diligence for the, I'm sorry.
Mr. Randy, the architect overlooked some of this too?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't introduce myself, and I apologize. Derek Porsche with Porsche May Architects. I'm the professional record on this.
Well, let's just split it 3 ways.
That's,
Well,
you don't have to, I mean, look, I'm just here to explain if y'all feel.
Is that something you're willing to do?
We're willing to have any conversation as long as, you know, y'all are aware of the conditions and have any questions. That's my biggest thing is to manage your expectations. Having said that, the project is protected. Ultimately, those are my 2 goals.
Well, let's just split it 3 ways. We all got skin in the game.
We're not gonna allow an inferior product, whether rain or not. Schedules are schedules, I understand, but, you know. Okay. If you have any questions or anything, that's what I'm here for.
Appreciate you.
So would you like us to approve a third of that?
What's that? I'm sorry?
So would you like us to approve a third of that today, or we're gonna wait for the next meeting?
We can wait for the next or now. The work has been done and we are pouring concrete this week. Concrete is coming, so.
All's in your court.
Okay, all right, well, I'll coordinate with Katie and your awesome staff and Randy, and we'll make sure it gets done. Okay?
Y'all good with that guy? We all got skin in the game? Don't make another mistake.
The better the project, I hope the timing is a little better to meet the jury, before the concrete's on its way, but yes, absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, absolutely.
All right, OEP, Mr. Randy. OEP Pavilion.
OEP, on OEP.
Do you have anybody here?
14 days.
That's across from Chesson, right? The mosquito
Yes.
control? Okay.
And that's 14 weather days, and they done the calculation on it, it's suitable. So, I recommend y'all accept that.
Stay with the 14?
Well,
Or
I
give
mean,
'em-
that's up to y'all, however y'all, I know you talked about earlier,
I
30.
talked to, the gentleman earlier, but we both know they can't do it 14
Right.
days cut and dry, so we'll just be,
I mean,
have this
we
problem
still
again.
waiting on the brake test on the concrete.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, I think we ought to give them 30. They're gonna come back to us
They
again.
would, they would like to see at least enough time for the next sanctuary meeting, which would be 30 days, Mayor?
So if we could do 30, but I also told them we're gonna be counting sunshiny days too.
Right. So, because if you don't allow him the 30 days, his deadline is actually, would have been August 8th,
Yes.
not counting the 14 days. So now we'll put him to August 22nd, which we're not having another meeting. So if we could go one more meeting, and that'd be their responsibility
30 days.
for the extra days, and explain why.
Is that possible, Miss Katie?
Yes, so you meet on September 3rd. So they would have to come back and request a time extension or something at the September 3rd meeting, or you could start assessing liquidated damages at that point. the project isn't.
If we didn't give them 30 days, what you saying, Ms. Katie?
No, if you give them 30 days,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
you should expect a substantial completion on your September 3rd agenda.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay. And all you have to do is when the motion's made.
And the building is there on site. I mean, if we get a good brake test back on the concrete, they can start in the next couple of days.
Yes.
And it depends how much they work, you know.
You count the sunshine days.
There'll be a bunch coming up.
Right.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Rand. Anything else, Ms. Katie?
No, sir?
Motion to adjourn?
Got a motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Sam.